Welcome, everyone, to Beyond Limits, the podcast for driven coaches and consultants ready to scale to six figures and build a life that they love without burning out. I'm Melissa Hausman, your six figure success coach, sales specialist, a busy mom of two kids, wife, and dog lover. And I have been right where you are, juggling a 9 to 5, big dreams, and the desire to create a thriving business. On this show, we talk about all things business, from building a six-figure coaching business while balancing your 9 to 5 to mastering high ticket offers, sales, mindset shifts, and scaling. So, if you are ready to push past your limits and create the business and life of your dreams, you are in the right place today. I am so excited to introduce you to Shamara, the founder of Marketing and Media Solutions. Shamara helps experienced coaches and consultants boost their social media presence, craft compelling content, and convert leads into sales to scale their businesses to 10K to 30K months. And after walking away from a decade-long career in television, she now uses her expertise in storytelling and her faith-driven approach to build six-figure businesses. So I cannot wait for you to hear how Shamara's strategies can help you grow your business and make a lasting impact online. So Shamara, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Melissa. I am super excited for this conversation.
Yes, me as well. So let's start out with an introduction. If you can tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, your journey from television to becoming a marketing and media expert, and what led you to help coaches and consultants scale their businesses.
Yeah, that's such a great question. I feel like it's going to be the entire episode. So for me, I'm a TV producer and a marketing coach, and I've wanted to be in television ever since I was a kid. So ever since I was a teenager, I used to write stories in composition notebooks, and I mean like whole stories. So these were novels that I was handwriting in composition notebooks, and my friends would leave comments in the back way before social media, telling me how great it was. And one time, my father, my best friend's father, his friend found out that I can write stories, and he was like, these stories are good enough to be in television. And so he would get me like to start typing them out so he can pitch them to television. And I was so grateful because what he did was he planted a seed inside of me. Like those stories never actually made it to television, but he planted a seed inside of me. And so I was about 15 when that happened. And I had been chasing the dream to be in television ever since. So finally, I went to college. After college, it was so hard to break into television industry, especially because I graduated in 2009. The heart of the recession was happening. It was hard to just get a job, period. But finally, I was able to, I started doing internships. I was working on different sets. And so all of that helped me to build my experience to when I finally got my position as a TV producer working at a major network, TV network. And this was probably back in 2015, 2016. But as I was working at this network, I was loving what I was doing, but I felt undervalued, I felt underpaid, and I felt overworked. And I knew that there was something more that I could be doing. I just didn't know what that was. And so by 2020, I got to the point where I just can't do this anymore. I wasn't going to quit because I was too afraid. But I remember God telling me, just whispering in my ear, quit your job. And I remember thinking to myself, ain't nobody quitting their job, God. Like, that's why who's quitting their job? Like, no. Um, but then he said to me, why are you so afraid? And it hit me like I was allowing fear to keep me in a position that was not even serving me on a purpose level or fulfillment level. And so the next day I walked into my job and I quit, and they were looking at me like, you're not going to give us 2 weeks. And I'm looking at God like, you didn't tell me to give them 2 weeks.
That is amazing. Wow. Undervalued, underpaid, overworked, like those are three very powerful words. And I know there are so many women out there who feel the exact same way where they're at in their careers, in their corporate jobs, their 9 to 5s right now. So that is just so powerful. And you made the leap from that stable job in television into entrepreneurship. So, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced during that transition? Because you just went all in, like you were just like, "Yep, we're going for it." Um, and how did you overcome that fear and that uncertainty that you had?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So there I was, I quit my job, and 1 month later, I remember freaking out. I was pacing my floor. I was going back and forth. And I remember just going, I said, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to my job. I gotta go back. This is February 2020 now. So now we're starting to get wind of COVID is coming. I'm like, I gotta go back. And God tells me, it's too late to go back, only forward, right? And it really was trusting that He was guiding me. And I know that kind of sounds crazy, especially if people aren't Christians. They're like, what? You just listening to a random voice that was leading her. But this voice is also like your intuition, your internal intuition that's letting you know that you are on the right path. Even though it looks like everything is going crazy around you, you're actually on the right path. And oftentimes, there's a lot of us where we desire to be in purpose, we desire to make an impact, but we're afraid to take the leap because we don't know what's going to happen next. But those steps do not manifest until you take the first step. So my first step was quitting my job. The next step was staying out of, it's not going back. And then the third step was to heal. I had to heal from this fear. I had to heal from lots of trauma that I had. I had to be confident in my own skin. And so for 8 months, I just enjoyed time with God, learning all of these things, really going deep into my childhood, doing some inner healing, just so that I can be able to. Actually, I didn't even know what was going to happen next. I was just in a healing season for 8 months. And after the healing season ended, that's when I heard God say, start creating content full time. So there I am now. I'm creating content full time. My follower count is going up, but my bank account is not. And here I am. I'm like, whoa, it's been almost a year. I haven't made any money. When I quit my job, I was only at $8,000 in my bank account. So now I was like at the end of the rope. And I remember before I quit my job, I told God, I just don't feel like you're my provider. And I needed to admit that. Like, it's okay to admit what your fears are. So I had to admit what my fear was. But every step of the journey that I took, I started to see Him as my provider, and that I didn't need to rely on the 9 to 5. Because from the content, I went back to God when I said to Him, hey, my follower count is going up, but not my bank account. The next thing He said to me was, it's because you have nothing to offer. So here we were in a position in 2020 where He whispered, quit your job. And then we're in 2021 now where He's telling me, start your business. And that whisper led me to wealth, like just really trusting that He's leading me, trusting that I'm hearing and taking each step.
Yeah, that's so beautiful and so powerful. And what I hear from that is that you were desiring more impact in your life and in serving others, but also you wanted like more income at the same time, right? And it's like that more impact, more income, and you had to, wade through some challenges to realize, oh, the missing element that I have is that I don't have an offer right now and I'm not putting myself out there and I haven't started, trying to serve people and collect, payment for that. So that is such a like powerful realization. And I know many of my listeners, they are still working their 9 to 5 and they're building their business alongside, kind of building a little bit of a financial um, cushion for themselves. So when they take the leap, that they have a little bit to fall back on. But you didn't do that. You kind of went the opposite direction. So, what advice would you give someone who might be feeling stuck right now and they're unsure how to take that leap into full-time entrepreneurship?
That is such a great question. Before I answer, I want to touch on something you said where like I was creating this content, but I didn't have anything to offer. I was showing up like an influencer because I had a mindset that the only way to make money was to create content and grow my following. And when I accomplished that, I realized very quickly that having followers don't mean that you're going to make money. And so starting my business was the only next option because, yeah, it was nice that I built the audience, but I also needed to sustain myself and I had to keep that in mind. Right. And so, for advice for people who are still working a 9 to 5, great, do that and let it build your business. The reason why I had to quit is because that was the thought I always had. Let me work my way in my career and then build my business alongside. But guess who was not doing that? I was not doing that because I was consumed by my business. I had two desires that were conflicting, which was I wanted to be the CEO of NBC, so let me keep climbing the ladder, right? And because of that, this other passion that I had that hadn't even, nothing was coming from it, I wasn't building my business. I was afraid to sell. I didn't even know what it meant to have an offer. I didn't know what that meant at the time. I had started my business in 2016. That's around the time that I became a TV producer, but that business stayed down there. And so for me, I had to take the leap so that I can actually put attention into this business. But if you're one of those business owners where you can focus on both, I would definitely say use the seed money from your 9 to 5 to build your business. Take the time to invest in the coach. Like you're always going to have your check coming to you every 2 weeks. So I would put some aside to invest in a coach. I would put some aside for my exit strategy, and I will put some aside for my marketing strategy for my business. Because one of the biggest things that I recognize with business owners, especially when they're just starting out, is they will have the product, they will have the website, but they have no marketing strategy. So people aren't buying, people don't know who they are. So you can actually take some of the money from your 9 to 5 and invest it in marketing. And that it doesn't have to be ads that you're running. It really could be your organic marketing, whether you hire a marketing coach who's going to help you with your strategy. And I would focus on increasing my visibility and profitability. Set yourself a goal so that when you hit that goal, you can say, okay, it's time for me to leave my 9 to 5 because I can sustain myself now.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's so powerful. You're like in my brain right now. I love that. Yes, that is so powerful to, build, set yourself an income goal monthly. And once you start hitting that like over and over, like just imagine how much more income you can bring into your life while creating that more impact when you're full time in this business, right? And it all starts with having a solid offer and really like not being afraid to get out there and make offers daily, start conversations with people. And, some of the clients that I've worked with, they're like, oh, I haven't made any sales yet. And I asked them, well, how many people have you put your offer in front of in the last 30 days? And they like look at me like, nobody. I'm like, well, that's your problem right there. So thank you so much for sharing that. And one thing that I love about you and your story is that you have included such a strong faith-based approach to your business. So, how has that influenced any business strategies that you have, and how do you incorporate it into your coaching programs to help your clients grow?
That is, oh my goodness. Well, you just have all the great questions. Um, so actually my faith influences my entire business. When I started creating content full time and I started to make offers, I was showing people TV industry secrets in order for them to do video marketing, but nobody paid attention. I probably got 2 sales. So as I worked with my business coaches, I saw how they taught biblical principles in order to grow your business. And I said to God, I want to know how to teach content in Christ. Like, show me how to do that. And so I was already really good at the Bible, but I never saw it from a marketing perspective. And when I started seeing it from a marketing perspective and teaching it from a marketing perspective, that's when people started coming in droves. And so what I understood was, we can keep giving people what they need, right? Sometimes we show up, we're like, we're going to give people what they need, but people will only buy what they want. And what my audience wanted, because they're attached to my voice, is they wanted to understand marketing from a biblical perspective because a lot of them know the Bible. Now, are all my clients Christians? Absolutely not. Some of them are atheist, agnostic, Muslim, right? Some of them used to read the Bible, or they grew up in church, or they never touched the church before. But there is an underlying desire in all my clients to be seen, and a desire for them to scale their business beyond 30K months, beyond 10K months. And so that's what I show them how to do. And so they do submit to the teaching because they recognize, wait a second, this actually helps me. And so every decision that I make in my business, it is faith-based. And it's because I couldn't do this business on my own. Like if I didn't have God leading me and directing me. So I do teach Bible marketing secrets to all my clients. And when they implement it, they see miraculous results such as going viral and getting 60,000 leads from one video. I mean, like, some people can't even imagine 60,000 leads. Would that break your business? You know, like, could you imagine getting that? I always ask people, like, are you ready for 60,000 leads to come into your business? I've had people go viral and they've gotten 300 new email subscribers and was booked up for 2 months. Right now, these are these are miraculous results, but we also get people who come in where imposter syndrome and a lack of confidence and camera shyness is broken off in 3 days or less, right? Because not only are we showing you how to scale your business, but we're showing you how to be confident in yourself. You have a message that you want to share, and there are so many people who need to hear this message, but what's holding you back is yourself because you're playing small. So we show you how to come out of your comfort zone so that now you're showing up as a powerhouse on social media, and that's all done through faith.
That's so amazing. I love that. And I love that there's not, a limit to the type of client that you serve, right? But that you also stay true to yourself in the way that you teach and the way that you market. Like, that's so beautiful. So I want to transition a little bit and talk about a little bit of the mindset shifts necessary. So a lot of coaches, content creators, when they start out, the at least for myself, it was like, oh, I have to have something that's like really low priced because like I don't know, like I'm still fearful. I don't know if I trust, in the offer that I'm actually putting out there. And a lot of it is really like mental. So I teach high ticket coaching and high ticket coaching programs. So what do you think is the biggest mindset shift that clients need to make when they're transitioning from selling lower price offers into high ticket coaching programs? And how do you help them break through their own limitations in their pricing and value?
I feel like you and I had the similar journey when we just started out because I did the same thing. When God told me you have nothing to offer, the very first offer I launched was teaching people how to edit videos on Clubhouse. By the way, don't ask me why I didn't choose a Zoom. And I charged $97 because I thought the lower the ticket, the more people will come in. And actually, there's a lot of people who have that mindset. If it's less money, more people will come in, right? And what I learned very quickly is all you're doing is you are trading your time for money and you will become exhausted because instead of you focusing on attracting quality, you now have to focus on quantity. And when you're just starting out, that can be really exhausting. So I've made more money shifting my pricing to high ticket, showing my clients how to do the same thing than me selling something that is low ticket. Because if I want to hit 10K months, all I need is, well, technically now all I need is one client and I'm good to go. But back then when my offer was 5K, two clients, right? And I will hit my goal. I hit 17K month one before because I had 7 clients come in. They came in at different prices, but just hearing that is like, whoa, I just need to convert less because my price is higher. So that's one shift. Another shift is really understanding that you are deserving of wealth. And even I had to tell myself that I am deserving of wealth. Sometimes we don't go into selling the higher ticket because we feel like we're robbing someone. We'll use excuses like it's a recession and people can't afford it. Stop, get your hands out of that person's pocket. People pay for whatever they want to pay for, right? And so a lot of it is a reflection on us. And am I willing to receive the wealth? Do I believe that I am deserving of it? And I had to tell myself that, like, I am deserving of this. And the more I told myself that, the more I saw the people coming in who actually wanted to invest. My very first time selling my 5K offer, did not believe in myself. I tried to sell a $297 offer to this person, and she wouldn't have it. She was like, "Did you say you had a 5K offer?" And she talked me into selling her. Right. So again,
Amazing.
believe that you are deserving.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Going back to what you said at the beginning, my very first offer was a $97 offer as well. And I made one sale, and that was to my very supportive husband, who was like my very first client. Like, thank you so much, hubby. And like just crickets after that, right? And a lot of that was the mindset that I had that, I wasn't bringing my years of experience in corporate into my pricing structure. I was just like, oh, I'm brand new at coaching. And so I have to price myself lower. And it actually took me investing in a coach myself to start to realize like I have so much value and so much experience that I'm bringing to this, table. And it also took me a lot of months of like mindset work to realize to charge $5,000 doesn't mean I have to spend, 10 hours a week with a client, right? It's all about that transformation and pricing based on the value that you know that you're offering. So, like, I'm so aligned with you there. Want to talk a little bit more about your business specifically. So, you help clients build strong social media presences and scale their business. So, what's a success story? You've given us a couple hints, but what's one of your kind of favorite success stories of a client that you've supported who's really transformed their business using your social media strategies?
Yeah, I did give you some. I'm gonna give you two more of my favorite ones. So this one is Christina. I talk about her all the time because when she first came to me, she only had 474 followers. She is a career coach where she helps men and women land their dream jobs working from home, making six figures or more. But when she was showing up on social media, ain't nobody was checking for her, right? And so I she joined my program. And she said to me, Star, I need a lead generation strategy, right? Because in her mind, she knew like I need to be able to get the leads now. And so I gave her that strategy. And the next day, she got 30 new leads, all because she followed the strategy. The other thing we did was we identified what was the one thing that people would pay for if she taught it on social media. So oftentimes you'll hear social media gurus telling you create educational content, create educational content. And so because of that, there are a lot of business owners when they just start out, they're putting out all this educational content that nobody is watching. And that's because what's missing is not understanding that you need to be teaching the thing that people will pay you for. Right. And so, as a career coach, we identified three things that people could pay her for. One was resumes, one was interviews, and one was negotiations. Do you know of all those three? Do you know which one was the one that people wanted to pay her for? I want you to take a wild guess.
Negotiation,
You would think that, right? So many
right?
people, whenever I ask
Negotiate your price.
Whenever I ask people that question, they always say either negotiations or interviews. But actually, what got people to pay her was resumes. And that let us know that there's a big market who's having trouble getting in the door. So now, till this day, whenever she posts and teaches about resumes, she'll go viral. She's grown her following from 474 to over 40,000 people listening to her. She had 300 email subscribers, booked up for 2 months. She had 18 discovery calls, 10 people plus. This is just her old stats. She gave me some new stats of people just coming in. She got sick at the end of last year. She had to take months off. So this year she started posting again about resumes. And she said, I already got, in the one day she started posting, she got 24 new subscribers, all because she's talking about resumes. So really identifying what is that one thing that people will pay you for because they'll keep coming back for more. So that was her. And I want to share one more, which is Dr. Karen, who she's a real estate broker. And what she wanted to do was she wanted to help new real estate agents land their, build six figures when they're selling their real estate, right? Because they haven't done it before. Her biggest thing was she didn't know what to sell or what to offer. So we helped her to build the brand Six Figure Realtor. And instead of her just showing up, taking photos of herself and how beautiful she is, she actually started teaching to her audience. She started engaging with her audience. And then she started getting serious people who are inquiring about her offer. So it really is taking the shift from, okay, it's me, here's my family, here's my spouse, here's my children, to it's me, I'm here to serve you. I'm building my authority. Here's how I can help you, and here's how you can buy. Once we make that shift, now they're showing up and they have a well-oiled machine. They know exactly what they need to post to grow their following. They know exactly what they need to post to get engagement, and they know exactly what they need to post in order for them to get sales.
Oh my gosh, those are two so like super powerful stories. And if those stories aren't enough to convince you that Shamar is the real deal, like I don't know what would. So, let's talk a little bit about your coaching programs. So you focus on helping coaches and consultants with their social media, content creation, and really their sales strategies. So What is the process like inside one of your coaching programs, and what kind of results could clients expect to see?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll talk about my 5 day challenge, which is called Convert Content to Cash. Our goal is to really show business owners, entrepreneurs, and coaches how they can create content that sells in 5 days or less. And the reason why I created this 5 day challenge is because I see a lot of business owners, coaches, they are on social media. They've been posting for months. They've been listening to this guru, listening to that guru, and they're not seeing the results like engagement, following increase, or the sales yet, right? And that's because there are just a couple of things missing from their strategy that's hindering them from moving forward. So we show them what these things are across 5 days and while they implement. So our challenge is not a challenge where we're just teaching and then you take notes and that's it. I'm very big on action takers and money makers, not time wasters. So we teach you and then we tell you to go implement it today and come back so we can audit it for you, right? So day one is all about what positioning your brand on social media. What is the one thing that you need to teach that will get people to buy from you? What is the one thing that you need to teach that you will be known for and be famous for, right? Once we're able to identify that, then of course you're going to keep doing it. Day two, how do you create deep connections with your audience? By using the power of storytelling. So oftentimes I get people coming to me saying, I'm afraid to sound salesy. That's why they're not selling in their videos. But we show them you can actually sell without selling using the power of storytelling. And so that's what day two is all about, using our story selling strategies. That's what we call it. Day three is all about your 6 figure content strategy, right? So if you're accustomed to getting sales through word of mouth and through referrals, we want to show you how you can skyrocket that, how you can scale that using social media videos. And so we walk you through our 6 figure content strategy. We have people implement it and they start seeing, oh my goodness, I'm getting leads now. I'm getting followers of my ideal client, not just anyone who's following them, but who are ideal. And then day four is all about presenting your offer, knowing exactly what to sell and how to sell it on social media. Sometimes I see business owners show up, they are selling 5 things on social media, overwhelming and confusing their audience. So we show them how to dial in their offer to attract their ideal customers with one offer of what it is that their ideal client wants. We show them how to be confident when they are selling. So a lot of it has to do with breaking mindsets of poverty, breaking mindsets of lack, of scarcity, of money blocks, of feeling like you're taking from people as opposed to giving. So we show you how to break all of that. And then day five, we show you how to profit from everything that we're showing you, how to create predictable 5 figure months, as in they're already at 10K, they want to scale to 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K, and beyond. We show you how to do that by putting all of this together. And so when people come into my program, they think that I'm going to teach them, oh, hop on this trend and maybe you should use these call to actions. We don't do that. We actually show you how you can use social media as your marketing system and then how you can also use it as your sales system so that you're attracting your ideal people and then funneling them into your email list or into your program. And once they see that, they're like, I had no idea. They no longer have to pay for ads. They no longer have to have a VA. If they have a VA, we could train their VA, but they don't have to do all the extra things that people are telling them to do. Post 3 or 4 times a day, show up, show up, show up. Nope. They have their own strategy. They have a system that works for them. And that's just in 5 days. I know that sounds like a lot. It's like, oh my goodness, you're doing all of that 5 days. Yeah, because our goal is for you to get results in 5 days or less.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So before we wrap up today, I'd love for you to share how people can learn a little bit more how to work with you, how to enroll in this amazing program. So where can the listeners connect with you, learn more about this 5 day challenge and any other exciting offers that you might have coming up?
Absolutely. So if you want to get access to the 5 day challenge, you can go to the website content2cashchallenge.com. So again, content to cashchallenge.com. You can also slide in my DMs on Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and just type challenge accepted, and I'll personally send you an invite to the challenge. And if you want to connect, you can feel free to follow me on Instagram, slide in my DMs, say, hey, I came from Melissa's podcast. You can slide in my DMs on LinkedIn as well. How I am building my community. That's where I'm connecting with everyone. My name on each platform, Instagram is at Book of Star _. Everywhere else is at Book of Star.
My gosh, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I have just loved this conversation, and I love how you've shared your journey and the combination of faith and strategy and just authenticity, because that's exactly what it takes to grow a successful six-figure plus coaching business. And I think what both you and I are doing is helping coaches and consultants realize that 10K months are just the beginning, right? There is so much more. You are worth so much more, and you're deserving of welcoming that into your life. So, if you are stuck and you're feeling just really, you know, frustrated in your corporate career, you're burnt out, you're dreaming of more freedom, or maybe you're already making some money in your coaching business, but you're struggling to scale that or break through to consistent 10K plus months. I would love to invite you also into my six figure success coaching program. I'm opening up 5 exclusive spots this month. So if you are interested for that, you can apply for one of the 5 openings at melissahausman.com/6FS application. So just know that your dream business is waiting for you. So I know that Shamra or I would be so grateful to support you in, creating that. And I want to thank you again for joining us for another episode of Beyond Limits. We're so thankful that you joined us today. And if today's episode inspired you or gave you a fresh perspective on building your business, mastering high ticket offers, or scaling to 6 figures and beyond, let's keep that conversation going. So you can also head on over to my LinkedIn page at linkedin.com/n/Melissa-Hausman to connect or dive deeper into these strategies. So, again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll make sure that the show notes today include all of the links to how to connect with Shamara or myself. And until then, keep dreaming big, selling high, and scaling higher. Thanks so much, everyone.